Hello and welcome to the E-commerce Leaders Series podcast, the podcast dedicated to helping founders and e-commerce leaders navigate the future of online retail with AI. I'm your co-host, Brian Kinghorn, Head of Growth here at Luca, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Eric Bedinger, co-founder and CEO of Luca. Hello, Eric. I'm also thrilled to have our guest here with us today. We have Tania Walsh, who is the founder and CEO at VANI-T, an Australian luxury beauty brand renowned for its natural, cruelty-free and vegan-friendly products. So thanks very much for coming on today, Tania. Thank you for being here. Before we dive into our main topics of conversation, could you please just give our listeners a brief introduction to yourself, your background, and what VANI-T does?
Okay, so I've been in the beauty industry close to 35 years now. Started VANI-T 21 years ago in my kitchen, and since then we've expanded worldwide. We're in 15 countries, approximately 15,000 stockists worldwide. And yeah, we do a range of tanning, makeup, hair care, skincare, and wellness products.
Nice. And so 21 years, you said, so that's obviously there's a lot of history there within the business. But what initially inspired you to start the business? Like what was going on at that time that made you feel compelled to fill the space?
Yeah, it's weird because I was always like a big sun baby when I was younger, in my teenage years. Loved going into the sun and things like that. Obviously in Australia the sun is quite harsh, so I worked to develop a spray tanning product that was the first in the world to have 99% natural organic ingredients in it. So it took me 76 attempts to get it perfect. And then I kind of just launched it. At the time I had a beauty college, so I kind of just launched it to my students. But within 3 months, we had someone from America saying, "What is this product? Can I import it over here?" And as they say, the rest is history. So we kind of expanded from tanning, and then I chose the name VANI-T for the business because I knew that I'd want to expand on, categories to cover anything to do with beauty, really.
Awesome. No, that sounds good. And again, over that 21 years, I'm sure that you've seen lots of changes in regards to technology and things like that as well. So I suppose that brings us on to the next part of the conversation, which is obviously as you've grown over the years, I'm sure you've had various different operational bottlenecks throughout that time as well. But I suppose looking ahead to now, and being an e-commerce business, you've got all these different dashboards, reports, spreadsheets, all this type of thing going on to try and make the business effective. But how are you handling that these days? Like, what tools are you using to help you sort of run the business overall?
Well, obviously, when we started, there was no such thing as social media and things like that. And now that's even kind of outdated as far as the consumer journey and, where they look to buy certain products. And, as we know, AI has creeped up very, very quickly in the background. And, now we use AI tools for all sorts of things in the business. Just going back a little bit before the whole AI stuff, we used to have five customer service representatives that would have to manually enter orders and things like that. So obviously Shopify came in. Now that's all pretty much automatic. It goes through the back end of the website. We don't touch it. But yeah, as far as AI, I think we're looking very seriously at a lot of different aspects that involve this kind of technology. But first of all, there's obviously things like ChatGPT, which we use on a daily basis, both for my personal, interests and questions. But as far as business, it goes anywhere between writing copy for ads or, for content, image generation, right through to full-blown strategies and, ads management and things like that. So we use that quite extensively. We also one of the first in Australia, I believe, that used AI to generate a welcome flow series. So when someone signs up, they get a video of me. It says their name. I recorded it once, and it specifies every name of the person who signed up. So they think that I've sent a personal email to them. So it just adds that point of connection. And then all the way through to, creating videos through, Midjourney and, platforms like that. And now we're really looking deep into the AISO, so that we're found on AI. So we're looking to fulfill that role, someone that can really in the back end do all of that, because that's really, I can't remember where I read it, but just recently there's a big switch of people when they're looking for a product, they're going from Google to ChatGPT for recommendations. So and I know they're rolling out ads and things like that as well. So that's another area that we use it just with ads management and that aspect too.
Yeah. Cool.
That's fascinating. If I can jump in, Tania, with maybe up-leveling it a little bit with a business of your size and scale, our listeners are interested in understanding a little bit, besides AI, how do you make critical decisions about, so pick your poison, like ad spend or inventory or cash flow or customer retention, anything, with what we imagine is the sheer volume of data that you're being bombarded with on a daily basis. And so, like today, what does that process look like? And maybe what are your biggest frustrations?
I guess because, you've got to go to different programs or tools to analyze, really. It would be great to be able to, and often I use ChatGPT for this kind of thing. I'll upload profit and loss and cash flow statements and inventory reports just to get a full, an overview of everything. Because, alternatively, what do? You sit in the back end of each of these programs and you've got to work it out all yourself. Why do that when you've got AI to kind of help you with time saving and yeah, absolutely.
It's there's so many different places that you can go to find your data. Having all that in one place is very helpful, and we can definitely chat more about that later on. So you did mention there as well that you at one point had 5 customer service reps that you sort of, obviously AI has replaced, and I suppose I would imagine over the 21 years you've grown your team size considerably over that time, but then potentially AI's helped streamline things. So what's been the biggest challenge faced in trying to scale VANI-T, and then how has some of these AI tools helped you maybe make things a bit more efficient?
As far as scaling, I've actually probably downsized head team members and things like that, because a lot of it's automated now. Even little things like ads analysis, like I said, reading reports, it's saves a lot of time. Rather than having to go through everything, you can get a high level overview of exactly where there's roadblocks or blockages. So I rely on that a lot to be able to make conscious decisions in the business.
Yeah. And what is the size of your team at the moment, Tania?
I have about 8 or 9, and then we outsource our 3PL. Okay. So very tight knit. We have outsourced consultants for things like certain jobs in AI, affiliate programs. What else do we employ for today? Paid ads management. So a lot of that's outsourced. Very small kind of tight-knit team in-house. But then 3PL and logistics. So you've got a whole team there that pick up the orders, pick, pack, ship. So it's definitely streamlined things. Even things like websites that used to take $20,000-$30,000 to create, a very clunky. AI can do all of that now.
Yeah. And what platforms are you using? Are you on like Shopify, or is it something else?
Yeah, we use Shopify.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, it's a good platform to use, so it definitely helps limit that website spend. And then in regards to if you had a magic wand right now and you could solve something within the business related to like business performance, as an example, what would that be and why? What would you do with that magic wand to help you run your business more efficiently?
Well, again, I kind of do go to chat and things like that to be able to give me some insight, especially strategic wise. Where the low hanging fruit is, where there's bottlenecks, where the growth can come from. So I use it in that respect. But things like, I notice now you can get, AI influencers / content creators that are so lifelike, and, just taking away that time that you take to, find creators and briefing them and things like that. At a touch of a button, you could have 60 different AI influencers that look just like, everyday humans, with, tone of voice and emotions and all that kind of stuff. It's just crazy how much, and I'm talking maybe the last 6 months that I've really noticed a big difference in that respect. Photography, we just upload a picture of the product, and then instantly you've got a full studio blown without spending $10,000-$15,000 on a photo shoot, which is what we'd normally do. At a click of a button, in less than a minute, you've got a campaign shoot. So it's kind of all aspects, but strategically wise, I find it really good to be able to. It's like I also have like projects where I use it as a co-founder. Act like a co-founder and tell me exactly what you would do if you're in that position.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's a great way of prompting it to treat it as your sort of AI co-founder. So yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. And then I suppose, and actually just thinking about this out loud as well, on Instagram now, you could be scrolling on Instagram as an example, and you come across something and it's now getting to a point where you don't actually know if it's an AI influencer or not, which is obviously, an interesting space to be in.
Yes. And just the sheer volume of content you can produce, upload a script. And we often use things like reviews from clients that don't want to get on a camera, but they're going to be way more authentic by using, a real human's, point of view and feedback and review than a paid content creator that is just going to say what you want them to say because they've been paid to do so. So yeah, just the authenticity, even though it's not a real human,
and back to you've also mentioned, I'd imagine in your space is paid ads play quite a big part of your marketing spend. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. I would assume so. And what has been some of the strategies you've found most useful in sort of optimizing that ad spend for ROI? So like what have you used, or what are you using to try and just make sure you're getting like the maximal return on investment from that ad spend?
A lot of that's outsourced, so that's not my forte. I know top level kind of understanding of Facebook ads, but as far as what my target MER is, my CAC, AOV, like just knowing what industry standard it is, it goes through my entire Shopify reports, tells me what I'm currently doing, and again that low hanging fruit or what I can do to really move the needle. Creative is again a big part of stopping the scroll and increasing your your revenue and things like that. So again, AI plays a big part in that as well.
Yeah. Nice. And then in regards to, obviously you've mentioned you're using obviously the various different tools that are available to you. Is it in the business, in your team, is it you predominantly that's driving the adoption of AI, or is there anyone else within the team that's like taking it upon themselves to like drive that and find new things and encourage people to sort of adopt AI tools?
I feel like there is a bit of a natural pushback for my team. I think it's just human nature to be worried about their jobs. But my team at the moment are like family, and their roles are very pivotal. I always want that human aspect to it, but I just feel like they could be by utilizing and embracing AI a little bit more, they could be a lot more efficient, save time on things that, even things like, editing photos and things like that. We used to waste a lot of time getting it perfect. You can do it in a heartbeat. Then they're going to be able to spend more time on things that really count. So I would definitely say I'm the driver of it, pushing for everyone to embrace it. There's a little bit of pushback, but I think as they realise it's not going to go anywhere, I think, it's the same thing when the internet first came. Everyone was, scared, but really how it can make our lives so much easier and simpler and more efficient. It's kind of crazy to just keep plodding away, trying to do things in a human way.
Yeah, we've gone through these phases, I suppose. You mentioned internet coming on the go. When social media first came on the go, there was, an element of pushback on it. Then AI, there's every 10 years or something, there's these big things that happen.
Shift, and you can tell that it's here for good, and it's just going to make things easier and better. So
yeah, nice. And then in regards to other leaders in the same position as you, so CEOs, founders of other e-commerce brands that are out there, what sort of one piece of advice you would give them in regards to achieving growth? Like, obviously you've grown your business over the years. Like, if you were to just try and narrow that down to one piece of advice to other leaders, what would that be?
I would say to embrace it and utilize it to its greatest capacity. Learn as much as you can about the tools and how it can help you, because it's really there to be able to just help grow the business. That's what I would say.
Just embrace it. Get involved.
Yeah, get involved. Don't try and do it all on your own, because there's tools there to be able to help.
If I may, this is fascinating. Do you have, Tania, a predisposition to basic intellectual curiosity? I mean, obviously you're very ahead. I would say most of our audience is listening to this, just dipping their toes into even asking themselves the question. You're way ahead and already charging through. Like, what in your background makes it so?
I would have to say, like, from a very young age, I was very entrepreneurial. Even as a child, I used to try and sell things to next door neighbours and stuff. So I think I've always had that, entrepreneurial spirit, but also that inquisitive nature. And, time and time again in my business, I feel like I have this gift of seeing innovation, mostly in regards to products that, fill a need in a consumer. But it also then applies to things like embracing AI, and just spotting where those trends and really where things are going to pivot to, and kind of jumping on as an early adopter.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating. Well, hats off. I mean, congratulations for the attitude.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see.
You have to get on board, otherwise you're going to get left behind. I hear this time and time again.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings me on to looking ahead, I suppose. I actually had a conversation the other day where a similar position to you, founder and CEO of a business, said that in his opinion, I don't want to influence anything here, but in his opinion, within 18 months, he won't need to run his business because AI will be doing it for him. That's not going to be for everyone, but in your opinion, let's look ahead 3 to 5 years in your business. So for you or the business, how do you see AI playing a part? Like, just in your opinion.
We can't even see 3 months, 6 months ahead in reality how much it's going to shift. But I have to say, like, if I'm making kind of any real important decision in the business, I'll run it through AI to get its feedback, and then I rely on my gut instinct to tell me which way to go. It's always a very clear gut feeling about what to do, but it's nice to have someone, rather than it all sitting in your head, just having it on paper or on screen of these are the options. But as far as future, I would really love to utilize some more tools that are very analytical, I'm not ideally a very analytical type person. I'm more creative. So just, leaning on AI for more analytical background as far as making decisions as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's a great view outlook to have, and this conversation has taught us that you're definitely one of the people that are have got that positive outlook on it. And in regard,
well, I think of it, things like interviewing job candidates. I've used ChatGPT for the last 2 roles that I've filled. Especially with something that I don't really have a complete grasp or concept over, things like paid ads. Presenting its resumes and results that they've achieved, getting them to pitch each candidate against each other as far as who's the strongest performer and at what stage to employ them under those in the pipeline. So that's helped a lot with really clearly seeing who's the best candidate.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way of doing it. You've got to try and make this process simpler for you. It can be a time consuming and very sort of in depth and full on process, the hiring process. So yeah, I mean, use these tools that are available to help you. Absolutely. And then so looking at like AI. Oh, sorry, carry on, Tanya.
I was going to say even inventory forecasting. Like when I look at it, it's at the moment, I still feel like I'm an early adopter and still trying to grasp where I can use it more. But when I look at it overall, I'm using it in so many aspects of the business, and it really has freed up a lot of time, increased efficiencies, and that as well.
Yeah, nice one. And so then if you were to look at sort of AI across e-commerce, in the main, what do you think? Do you think there's any trends that are like being underestimated by, your peers, or other businesses? Like, that could just be as simple as they're just not embracing it. But is there anything specifically you've seen out there?
Things like content creation, product photography, they still want to do it the old way. I think there's just so much time and money that can be saved there. Where else would I say? Copy, so many aspects. I definitely think things like advertising on ChatGPT, it's very new. They've only just kind of launched it in the US. I think a beta version here in Australia. But forget Facebook, Insta. I think they're going to become very much secondary. As far as consumers, where it used to be just going for information, it's now shopping and things like that. So there's chats is now opening up online a direct purchase once it's recommended to 2 or 3 different products, just streamlining and making things so much simpler for a consumer and us.
Making sure that you're showing up in those searches and things as well is going to play a huge part over the next I was going to say years, but months in reality.
And I know there's AI tools that can analyze all the back end of your paid ad campaigns, so I'm eager to use something like that as well.
And there's a whole SEO, as you mentioned, but GEO, AEO, all these different acronyms now, for which Eric will know a lot more about than I at this current moment. I'm learning as we go, but that's just going to be a whole new, like SEO, back in the day, however long that all started kicking off. It's now going to be the AI equivalent that really has to. Brands are going to have to be totally on top of as well to make sure they're taking advantage of this opportunity as well.
Early adopters again are the ones who are going to really forge ahead.
Absolutely. And then, so in regards to VANI-T across the board, and over the next sort of 5 years, where do you see VANI-T in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, again, growing internationally, I think is, expanding more internationally, should I say. Is a big goal of ours. More into pharmacies here and retail bricks and mortar stores here in Australia, and the same overseas. Direct to consumer is going to be a huge part of growth for us. And I'm probably getting to the point now in the next 5 odd years that I'll look to sell the business. So scaling a bit more, and then I think I've done a quarter of a century of bringing this back to life.
Yeah, fair play to that. And in that, on that international expansion piece, is there any countries or areas that you feel you haven't yet penetrated as much as you would have liked to?
I would say all countries, because we only kind of sell through salons in overseas markets, whereas here in Australia, the retail bricks and mortar are a real focus. So I think there's just so much scope and potential for us to grow, you know, in your Sephora's, in your Macy's, in your Boots. You know, there's just so much scope that it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good mindset to have as well. Everywhere you haven't penetrated enough. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's certainly no, you know, there's plenty of light along the way. I just don't know where it's going to stop.
Yeah. Still so much opportunity out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, that's been amazing, Tania. Thanks so much for sharing all your experience, your knowledge, you know, about your business, about AI and everything that you're using. It's been really wonderful to hear from you. Where can our listeners find you personally, or VANI-T? Is it predominantly LinkedIn? Is it where can they find you?
It's probably through socials. So our handles are VANI-T official, VANIT official _ on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website www.vani-t.com.
And it's wrap up. It's just been great to have you on. Thanks very much for playing a part in the e-commerce leader series, and wish you all the best for the future of the business.
My pleasure, and thanks for having me.
That was amazing, Tania. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Great to be here.